Thank you so much for joining me on what I like to call Love, Laughter, and Life and Coffee Mornings with Mariam. So, where is your coffee?
Oh, here is my. So you know what? I'm a ardent tea lover. So here's my tea,
Chai.
and
Yes.
I love it. So cheers to that.
Mm.
Yum. So I've got my tea, and the best part is I need it. And the
Mm.
best part is it's raining outside. I've got my tea. I'm having this lovely, tea coffee morning with you.
Yeah.
So let's bring it on. Like I'm excited.
So, first of all, you are a riot. You are so much fun just being around. Your energy is just, you just laugh through it all, which is like you're handling some crisis at home. You're going through some major anxiety, but here you are like laughing and, your emotions and your feminine energy is so alive. Simran. So, I'm going to first give the audience a beautiful introduction to her. This is Simran Rekhi, a dear, darling colleague and friend of mine. Right? You're someone who brings so much joy, fun, intentionality, and warmth in everything that you do. So, from motherhood to your work and the way you show up in your marriage, that's exactly the kind of energy that you're bringing in your book. Reignite the spark. I am so excited and honored. First of all, major applause
Thank you
for
so much. Now that you
on.
got it, that's my book that I just recently wrote.
Yeah.
And it's like a dream, you know. I remember, I think last year in December when we were doing our, goal setting for this year. So I just wrote that, this year I'm going to be an author and I'm going to write my own book. And I just kind of forget about it. And when in May, when I launched my book on 25th of May, I
Oh,
was randomly just scrolling through my, goals sheet and seeing, and it was written on point number 4 that this year I'll be an author and I'll be publishing my first book. And I can't believe, it's like right here,
it is,
manifested.
and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So I want you to really, tell us, first of all, reignite the spark itself, right? That itself is such like I need to pause because I feel like as women, the shifts that we experience as soon as we get into marriage and motherhood, and then there's like, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the wrong thing? The self-questioning. Of course, there's so much pressure
So
that
much, yeah.
you as that, you know what they say about the romance that goes on in your dating phase and how it builds. Of course, you're in a relationship now with someone you trust and you love. You've had that. But this is called reigniting the spark because the spark is something that needs to be reignited. It can't
Right.
just be left, right? So
Absolutely, yeah.
please give us the advice and please tell us how it's changed you personally because without that, how is it that you can write about it? It's happened to you.
Absolutely, it has to be my own experience. And also, thankfully, since the time I've become coach, I've actually had a couple of people coming to me with relationship issues, be it with their spouse or their families, their in-laws. But primarily, what I've noticed, especially around this middle age, uh, why is it that people start to fall apart? What it is that really happens around this time? So initially when you get married, it's like every other love story. There's like excitement, there are butterflies, and there's like those calling late night and waking up late night, and so through this all then life happens.
Yeah.
You have kids, the careers take up, the expectations from families take up, and I think the husband and wife trying to manage it all get so exhausted in the process they somehow end up disconnecting with each other. And so, marriage for me has been a great teacher because through my own challenges, through my own ups and downs, beyond the fairy tales, the reality when it strikes, how do you deal with it on a day to day basis? That's what's more important. And, in my book, I'm talking about this phase called the roommate phase. It's the roommate syndrome. It typically happens in middle age when it's all about logistics. It's
Yes.
all about the fact, kids have to go to school, the things have to be done, the lists are endless.
Yes.
You're just talking logistics throughout the day. So somewhere emotionally, there's a disconnect that happens. And
Yes.
in that disconnect, sometimes people feel that this is it. There's no connection. They've lost the spark.
Yeah.
And slowly that's, it starts to fade away. They start to fizzle apart.
Yes.
Uh, so I've talked more about emotional intimacy because it happens when we, stop being emotionally available to our partners.
True.
And that's the time when we start to disconnect. We stop listening, we stop being playful, flirty, and we stop seeing them for who they are. It's all about putting their expectations, there's lack of communication, and we just end up in that blame game that, you did this and you did that. And we're just in that process of trying to change the other person all the time. We're always thinking that, he doesn't change and, it's not moving on. Whereas the whole process lies in that you're changing every moment in your marriage. If you're evolving, so is your partner.
Right.
And the beauty lies in, being able to rediscover yourself and your partner every now and then.
Yeah.
That's when you're truly connected.
I
So
love the
instead of,
way you say that, every now and then, because of course you can't get away from life. You can't get away from the logistics. And I remember you and I speaking about this one time, and you said, you know what? I dress up. I wore for either Karwa Chauth or something like that
yeah,
in that outfit. And
that's
for
right.
me, that's become also very, very sacred because I know when I'm making that effort, I'm doing my best to show up in a way that kindles that spark,
Exactly,
that brings
exactly.
out that, desire. So this is so beautiful that you say that every now and then to take that effort, put
You
other
have
things
to.
aside.
You have to, because it's such crazy times, and you get lost in that craziness, that madness, that noise around you. So it's very important to see your partner and to keep rediscovering them through every phase, because this is special to us because we don't do Karwa Chauth as Sikhs, and but my husband loved the whole tradition of dressing up and
Oh,
doing the puja. He's very traditional at heart, so one day from work, he came back, regular work routine, and I came back. He entered the room, and I'm all dressed up in that red and holding a thali in my hand.
oh,
And he was all sparks in his eyes. He could not believe it. So, small, small things
yeah.
that so make a difference. That, that even despite the fact you don't do it, you don't follow it, but for your partner, you can go a little extra and, give him that happiness, then why not?
And they always say, between you and your partner, everything is sacred. Anything
Yes,
that you do
absolutely.
is definitely a blessing. So, we do have couples that have a variety of interests and things to do. And sometimes you come from, conservative mindsets, and then
Exactly.
you sort of resist wanting to be because suddenly from being a certain role, like a mother figure, for example, you are like, okay, but then the way you've done it, you've sort of it's so precious, it's so pure, Simran, because it's like even if your children were to see you like that, to be like, this is a goddess, mama, you're looking gorgeous, and bringing that element of um, beauty and class, and that's what you do so effortlessly, Simran, all the time.
For it's all about just showing up.
Yeah,
That's the most important thing. You just have to show up. In a relationship, you're always expecting, you're
yeah,
always wanting the other person to make the change. What
yes,
if you were the change? What
yes,
if you bring that change? You take the ownership of the relationship. What if you bring that change in? I
yes.
tell you, you will see the dynamics shift drastically.
I've
It's
had some amazing experience with manifesting because my husband's very hands-on all the time, and I'm like, oh my God, I need assistance. Someone do my clothes, someone do my hair, someone do this, someone do that. But somewhere I lost myself in trying to play that role of, okay, if they are all hands-on people, then I think I'm also expected to be a hands-on person. And a
absolutely.
lot of us do end up, whether it's people pleasing to label it or it's just you're doing it from love because you want to feel like, I also want to, be a part of this family. I want to be a part of how they do things. But then slowly and slowly you're realizing because it's not you, it's not something that you're used to, that instead of it bringing you closer, it's really pulling you in a different direction. And
Yeah.
one of the major insights at this was I said, okay, so what is it that I love to do? For example, for me to set up the house, I don't enjoy going to restaurants as much because I like the process of cooking and serving. There's something, like in traditional homes when you have what they call a dawat, like where
Yeah,
everyone comes.
exactly.
I said, I want to do this just for my husband, setting up a candlelight dinner, having like a three-course meal or things like that. But imagine if you're someone who's completely hands-on and I asked him to join me in the kitchen and we got into a huge fight because he was so stressed and tired. And here I was imagining a romantic cooking, episode happening at home. And here he's like, and I'm like, who
So
kept
that's a real married life.
yeah,
That's how
like so
real
I was like,
couples
so who
are.
kept the eggs here? And then he did. And I was like, oh, but you could have because it's messed with my table decor. And I'm like, oh, but you could have just put it in the fridge. And he's like, what are you saying to me? And at that moment, I was like, okay, this is effort, this is intention, but something in the result is giving me a feedback that it's not good. Like the expectation is that he will meet me halfway, right? And this is where I think I'm getting clarity that even that halfway meeting sometimes doesn't work. You might just have to go the whole hog, do it all, and then let him enjoy the experience. And then maybe when it's his turn, he'll do it his way.
Exactly. So you know what, Nilu, for us, Mariam, you know what the thing is that like we always know, the basis of our coaching is that our outer world is very much the reflection of our inner world.
Yeah.
It's how we feel within ourselves. It's how we, accept ourselves, how we see ourselves. Our reality plays. So
Yeah.
somewhere when we talk about meeting expectations, it's somewhere we are not living up to our own expectations or our own ideas or, own fantasies about marriage that
Yeah.
somehow don't come into play because we have our own set of expectations. So
Correct.
sometimes you have to, in a relationship, especially in marriage, you have to take out the me out of the equation and see the marriage holistically, see
Yes.
the person holistically, see the whole situation holistically, and see what can I bring on the table. How can we go above here, beyond here? How can we go better than this?
So are you
So
saying like look out of your nitpicking behavior and saying that okay, but you're not good at the kitchen, like in this case, to be very
yeah,
specific. Like, yeah, maybe not today, So, and if that has been an experience, then what are the things that even couples can do to understand what we'd like to do? So maybe you all did things before, but
yeah.
you didn't have the opportunity. So
See,
how do you get to
if
discover
cooking
each
is
other?
So if cooking is not one of the things, maybe decorating a house is one of your things. You
Yeah.
know, things that you feel that this is you, you own it up. So things
Right.
that you actually own up for, that this is what I love doing. Why don't you work more on that and ask for help? You know, like we always say that it's okay to
Yes.
ask for help,
Yes.
and
Yes.
okay to express yourself. You know, in marriage, the best part is that the more vulnerable we are to our partner, the more open we are, the more expressive we are,
Yes.
if they are able to see that side, they will definitely take a step forward. If you
Correct.
can tell them that, okay, cooking is not my forte, but if you can help me with the cooking part, I can manage the house part. I can keep it clean, I can keep it well decorated. So it's
Right.
all about finding your equation, finding your balance as to where you lack, maybe he can fill in, and where he lacks, maybe you can fill in. It's all about, joining of the dots and finding the best fit for each other. So
Exactly.
it's
So
all about
tell us
that.
now that we know how you're managing, now tell us how did you and your husband meet? What is the back end story to this relationship?
If I tell you that, Mariam, it's a typical Hindi film kind of a arranged marriage setup where I'm taking that tray of tea and, it's literally
Oh,
nervous, taking up and the entire family sitting there and, my in-laws are looking at me and asking questions. And it's a typical arranged marriage setup. But having said that, when I saw my husband for the first time, the smile on his face, that calmness, he was a complete gentleman. And the way he made me feel in the first few minutes of our conversation, it was so comfortable that I was very much myself. I didn't have to pretend to be somebody else or try to please him or impress him. So
right.
that was something that gave me right away that I think this is it for me. I think I can safely say it was love at first sight because he made me feel so comfortable and so much in my space that I was like, yeah, if I don't have to pretend to be somebody, then I think this is the real deal for me.
And so just for anyone who's watching, when you say for me, I love that because a lot of the times girls are never asked to think about themselves, right? They're always said, look at the family, look at the boy, look at your parents. It's very sort of look at when you say the bigger picture. And
Yeah.
somehow you're like, okay, I can make do. Someone told me, they said it's not about making do. It's not about even anything. This is the feeling that you feel where you're like, I felt like he was a gentleman because of the way he treated you. I like, the me part of it. And if you're not feeling that, then that's a sign that you want to be aware of and
Very
say that
important
I
because see
can't.
you exactly because you have to be half of that relationship.
Yeah.
If you're not bringing yourself in, if you're not comfortable, if you're not happy, how could you make the other person happy at all? How could you really have that successful marriage if you're not being yourself? So to be able to do that, to be able to feel that comfort, that first meeting said it all for me. So if I could just converse so easily and talk on things, and we were laughing on things,
Oh,
and you made me feel so comfortable at that level. I'm like, if that's the way it is, and we have such common interests, I'm like, yeah, this sounds fun. Let's go and explore this more.
oh my God. And how many years of marriage has it been and how many children do you have?
We'll be completing 18 years this year.
You're getting advice from good, solid 18
Oh
years.
yes, oh yes. So like I said, initially those romantic days, those late night calls, everything we've been through it all,
Yes,
and we've definitely been through our own challenges as a couple to realize that it's only when you overcome these challenges you come out more stronger and more evolved as a couple. So
yes,
we've been through ups and downs. We've learned along the way. I have learned. He has learned. We have both evolved together, and now we're at a more mature form of love
yes.
where we have rebuilt, re-strengthened, re-looked at a lot of things and see, okay, this is what works for us.
I'm
And
going to
that's how you keep evolving.
pause you because we get a lot of audience that is willing, even after 16 years of marriage, and they're like, I wanna run away from this. I'm not feeling good about it. And so to these people, I always love to say, including myself, I said, learn how to fight. Like when you say that we go through our share of ups and downs in life, everything's always evolving or changing. There's so much that is happening, whether to your body, whether to people that you're
Yeah.
welcoming children into the world, you're bidding farewell to all loved ones. There's so much change.
Yes,
Your age is happening. So when we say divorce, right, when we say people want to say that, oh, I want to end this sort of thing, I feel like why do you want to give up? Say you have a beautiful setup, you have everything going for you. If you learn how to fight, you give yourself, four solid grounds. Say, what is your non-negotiable? How long are you
exactly.
willing to wait? What is it that you really need right now? Learn that it's okay to express yourself, to speak up. And sometimes, if you're not able to speak up, then what do they do, Simran? Do you have any advice on how you handle, delicate moments like this? So people, rather than just saying, I can't speak up, so I'm going to either try to escape. It's like an escape route. Like, how did you manage to get through the tough times? Like, did you show up in all of your, ugliness also? Or was there like this sort of, what, at the back of my head, I love you. And that's like, I'm never leaving. Sometimes just knowing that I'm going through something, but I'm never leaving. You know,
That's true.
giving yourself a sort of boundary rather
So,
than,
Mariam, the thing is, when you get into a relationship, there's a saying that you cannot have your feet on two boats. So you
yes,
actually have to you have to actually burn the boats. You have to literally leave no option of, walking out. So when I got into the relationship, I made it very clear to myself that this is it, and there's no walking back. I have to burn all the boats. There's no turning back. So whatever it is, whatever comes my way, be it good, bad, or ugly, I have to make sense of it and try to move on, unless it's a non-negotiable.
correct.
Unless it's a big non-negotiable where we say, okay, this is it. This one I cannot go beyond.
Absolutely.
But so in my book, Mariam, this is what the biggest inspiration was. So while I was doing my research on relationships and while in this entire journey of coaching, I was coming across a lot of people through life experiences that I remember there was one of this client who came to me. She was in her early 50s and I was just counseling her. And poor thing, she told me that I'm at this age where I've given my entire life to my children, my family, my husband, building them up. And now my kids are all grown up, they moved out. My husband's having an affair, and I have nowhere else to go. I know he's having an affair. He says that you're old. I found a younger one, and she's a young girl, and he's moved. And while she's in the house, he's still like on phone with her and all around. And that really kind of tugged into my heart that, it's really sad that how women at such an age are still struggling. They're still keeping up with it, they're still keeping in the relationship, even if it's a non-negotiable, they have no other choice. So why put yourself in a situation like that you're just suffering, you're at the end of receiving it all the time. You're suffering all the time.
It's sort of like a default that happened to her. And
Yes. So the reason I wrote this book, Mariam, at that time, because so many such stories were coming to me. And while I was doing my research, I came across that there are 4 stages of a marriage life. Rather, there are 6 stages. So first few being that you're in love and everything is hunky-dory. Second one being that, okay, you're still in love, but then life slowly starts to creep in. Third one is that the love starts to diminish, the responsibilities start to increase up. And the fourth stage was the crucial stage wherein you're so much burdened with the noise around you, the responsibilities, the chaos, that somewhere you lose that connection with your partner. And sometimes people mistake this losing of connection as this is it. That's the end. So this fourth stage was a stage where I felt that this is a place where either you can, it's a make or break stage, that either you can realize that you are at the stage and it can be worked up, it can be, you can work better ways to get the connection back,
yes,
or you can mistake it to be, this is it, my partner has no interest in me, we've moved on, there are conflicts, there are fights, there are misunderstandings, and you go on to the fifth stage where you look for divorces and then just completely fall out of love.
yes.
So my book is an intention to tell people that if you're in that stage where you find that you're emotionally disconnected, how to bring that connection back,
So beautiful.
how to look beyond the roommate thing, how to look beyond the logistics and find that connection slowly and slowly, step by step, make it back to that spark in your life.
No, absolutely. I think that, what you're bringing out here in essence is that your life did get busy. You honored your role. You did what you were supposed to. You did the responsibility. And now that you're at a landing space where you find yourself and your partner, there is things, there are differences. Like you've moved around like a puzzle, but he and you are in different places. And now
Absolutely.
we're essentially talking about how you can either say, okay, we're far apart and we're going to exit, or you can say, how do we find our way back?
Exactly. It's just about being aware that you're in this stage. It's
Yeah.
nothing wrong. It's not that you've not fallen out of love. It's
Yes.
just somewhat got faded in the middle of that burden and that chaos and that noise.
And it
So how to
can take
find your way
control.
back?
Can take
Yeah, just
control,
so there
you
are a lot of techniques that we have learned along the way. So it's actually a proper guide where there's a lot
okay.
of techniques that I've given it, and every chapter we've discussed. There's an introduction to the problem, then why does this problem arise, and what is the way to look at it, and then there's some journal prompts that why what should you look more deeper in it to see that where you're lacking and where you can make the progress. So it's a complete step-by-step guide, and it's available on Amazon. And I would love the viewers to please go and have a look at it.
I
And
think
if
it's a must for anyone, whichever stage you're in. It's just like one of those essential skills that one needs to be aware of. And, so that God forbid you don't have the time at that time or it's too late. So grab your copy now. I think it's available on Amazon.
Yes, please. It's available on Amazon, and I hope it really helps.
Yes, it is definitely. I mean, just speaking about journal prompts, like that kind of reflection that, one can get with your guidance. And I love to read a book a day and just to see what people are saying to motivate you and things like that. But this sort of an interactive activity that you've sort of
Yes.
built
And
in.
it's also included my own journey. There are moments where I've included my own journey in it, my clients' perspectives in it, and how they dealt with it, or how I dealt with it. So it's a very realistic book in that sense. We've covered few problems in that,
Very
and
relatable, very, very
very relatable. Yeah, and I think the basic of the whole thing, Mariam, is that communication and expectations.
sure, sure.
It's the expectations that we have
Right.
and not being able to communicate it to each other. That's where the whole problem lies. And the moment we realize that, we learn to manage our expectations, get into acceptance that this is what it is. Let me see what I can bring on the table. If he can only come 10%, let me cover up 90% on that aspect. Where he can come 80%, let me do the 20% in that. That's how we balance and manage it out.
So if I had to ask you, what is the one thing you find couples, what is pulling couples apart the most? Like, what is it that they're either fighting about, or what is the like biggest disconnect? What is that conversation they're either having or not having?
Like I said, it's expectations.
So it
Expecting
could
your
be,
partner to be more than what he is or what he can do, knowing the fact that maybe the career is at a very high stake, it's a high stress job or whatever, knowing that the wife is worked up, their kids, their responsibilities. So it's just the burden of expectations. If you can just understand and see the person
yeah.
with the kind of work they have and the kind of responsibilities they have and see, okay, what if I can pitch in? So there was a very good article I was reading somewhere where they say the husband and wife, that dancing role where they try to manage each other. So if the husband says, come back from work and says, I'm exhausted, I can just put in a 20 today. So wife says, okay, don't worry, I'll put in the best 80. So,
Hmm.
you manage your energies and you balance it out. The wife says, I'm worked up today, I can just put in 10. Don't worry, I'll put in a solid 90.
How
So,
beautiful.
that's how they communicate that, I can only energetically bring in this much to the table today. Can you cover me up with the rest?
What happens when this communication is absent from, so one person is communicating and the other person is going to learn how to communicate. I suppose that, even the expectation of saying that you are being open in your communication, I'm sure you're guiding them to, it's a process, it's a journey. Like, even if
Journey.
you just heard this information, you've just adopted it, you can't just leave this video right now and say, okay, fine, I'm going to go and announce to my husband that, you know what, I have 10%, are you willing to do a 90? No, it's going to have to sort of be something that takes time. So either you sit together, say, start to have like even a glass of water together, take a glass of water to your partner and use that as an excuse to just sip on it together. Hey, how are you doing? Because sometimes we've not even taken the time to ask a, hey, how are you? It's just
Exactly.
like,
Because we get
have the
so
kids
busy in
gone
our
to
lives,
school? Yes. Have
yeah,
the salaries been paid? Yes. Do we have what we need to do for XYZ's birthday and go here, do that? Your whole schedule, your life is running for everyone looking, it's beautiful. But between
absolutely.
you both,
Absolutely.
it's that intimacy, it's that feeling seen, it's feeling heard, and also feeling held. So I think even in your book, if people were to go through that journey of saying, initially you'd have this wild desire to want to be in each other's arms, and that can maybe just evolve to saying, just holding hands for 5 minutes can feel like I'm connected to you, or in, sleeping in the same bed, just knowing that you're safe with each other, that can be, it sort of changes. So at every point there's reflection, like you said, right? There is.
It's about see, like what I realized in my marriage very early on was that it's not always about grand gestures. It's not always about going out on big dates and gifts and all those things. Like Pooja always say that she's a person of love. So
Yeah.
I'm a person of love. I understand the emotional connect more than probably gifts or anything materialistic. So
Yeah.
I realized it's not about grand gestures. It's
Yeah.
just about showing up. So if
Hmm.
I'm having a rough day today and you're standing there by my side, that's all that matters. So, it's a buildup that happens slowly and over time. You fall sometimes, you rise, you make your own rules, you break the rules again, and you remake those rules because you're evolving every now and then. So I think small gestures really matter. It's the small gestures, it's like the compounding effect of the small gestures that lead to that bigger, more fuller, and more happier life as a couple. So
And it's
like
the growth
evenings
in
with my
marriage
husband.
that one can expect, right? Like from
Yeah,
not
so small things
doing
like
your little habits, like whether you like elaichi in your tea, or you like sugar or not in your coffee, things like that also,
So I'll tell you
things that.
what. So like when I realized that life's getting so hectic, and this is actually out of my own story because last year was all about getting into that coach mode, gaining a lot of knowledge, upskilling myself, and all that stuff. So in the process, I found that we barely had time to literally sit through with each other and communicate because mornings he would leave early, evenings I would have my classes late night, and we would barely get the time to talk to each other. So that's when I realized, oh my God, we literally become the roommates and we need to bring it back. And then small gestures started where maybe having a morning tea together, maybe after work when he comes, take a small stroll after dinner, slightly holding hands, random conversations. Friday nights, maybe not going out with friends, just sit at the bar in a house and just randomly talk and have fun and chill. So these small moments, when they compound together, they bring that spark and that excitement back in the relationship.
So there's this
So
question that Sister Shivani says, "Kaun karega?" Kaun,
कौन करेगा
She
Men.
says,
It has to start from you.
yeah,
It has to start from you because when you start to show up, the
yeah.
other person will automatically start to pitch in. It has to start from you. If you want to see the change, be the change in the relationship.
That is so, so, so beautiful. And that was amazing. So we're going to take a small little pause with all of that stuff that you're going to get when you read the book. And we are going to give her some fun questions. Yes, Simran, are you ready? We're going to do
Okay,
like
yes, I
a
am.
fun segment. Just give me
Yes,
one
yes, bring
second.
it on. Fun. I hope not naughty questions, Mariam.
We don't know what questions. They're going to be questions.
By the way, the time that we had in Chennai,
Yeah.
while having dinner, that was so much fun. It was so like random, chilled, easygoing, and it was just so amazing. Hanging out with all of us together was a lot of fun.
It was amazing, especially like finding a restaurant and then getting in those cabs. These
And laughing
things are just
randomly,
a
like
group
endlessly.
energy. Okay, so these are the fun questions, and we're not going to pass on anything. Okay,
Okay.
what's your mom superpower no one else has? Like
What's my
locating
mom's
lost toys with radar precision, something like that. What's your mom's superpower?
my mom's superpower? Okay. Something I am often questioned about, but my mom's superpower is that I have removed the me from them.
Okay,
What it means is that I have stopped putting my child under the burden of my own expectations of how I want them to be. It's a very big thing to say because we are conditioned to raise our children in a certain way that they should do well in school, academically should be well, should be prim and proper, should be this, should be that. So I like, okay, what if I just let them be for who they are and let them build their own identity from this young age and not put a burden of how I want to see them on them. Just take the me away from them and then let's see how they blossom.
wow.
And I'm often questioned about my ways, but I love to experiment because, see, motherhood is an ongoing process. You're always discovering, you're always
Right.
exploring. You may be right somewhere, you may be wrong somewhere. But
Yeah,
the fact is that you're not following the norms of how other people are raising their kids.
right.
You're following the norm of how you want to see a child bring up his own identity.
And it's
So,
beautiful because each one is blessed so differently. Each
exactly.
one
And
is so
the
special
worst thing
in
we do,
life.
Mariam, is that we always compare our children to other children. They got a 90%. Why have you got an 80%? They're so good in sports. Why are you this? What if they have other capabilities or talents which I'm overlooking because I'm comparing them to somebody else?
That is
I'd rather see them for who they are. Never mind if they're not academically very good or they're not excellent in sports, or what if they're good in something else? What if they're a wonderful human being, sensitive at heart, and maybe somewhere else I need to direct their energies? As a mother, it's very important for me to see them for who they are rather than comparing them with someone else and be
Oh
like
my
someone else.
gosh, that was literally in my joy and in my gratitude list. I said, I just want to see my children be happy and I want to see them live fully,
Exactly.
fully. And I don't think being perfect in any one thing defines that for me. It means that they are passionate with, and I can see them, the smiles, the twinkle in their eyes, and of course, it seems like, oh, why would you want to chase a twinkle in the eyes? But that quality of life, that presence, and
Yes.
what that sort of strength, like if you as a parent today give them that stability and that foundation to say that this is what matters, then guess where their
Exactly.
focus is? On being joyful. We're spending so much of time feeding fear into the kids, and then, they're having issues like anxiety and ADHD and whatnot. So I'm so happy. This is amazing. It definitely is a superpower. You got this one.
I know. I think in
Very
this day
excited.
and age, they're dealing with so much anyway. There's so much going on. There's so much peer pressure. At least let's not put our pressure on them and let them just
Yeah.
learn to handle their own environment in their own way.
And we're
Just
there,
be
like to
supportive.
guide them, like, be like, okay, what next?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I always ask them to take choices. I never tell them, okay, do this and do that. I said, you have a choice. If you do this, A consequence will happen. If you do this, B, that outcome will happen. So it's a choice. And my daughter once came back to me saying that, Mama, you were right. I took the wrong choice. And the next time she very made sure that she, ended up making the right choice on that. She's like, I learned my lesson and I'm not going to go back on that again. I'm like, wow, good, you learned your lesson.
That exactly is such. Gold, Simran, because when you are that, gatekeeper and you're like, okay, I'm here and I want you to go and explore, both your options,
Exactly.
and they decide to choose the one you're not supporting because they need to make that mistake to
They
go
have to. You
there
know what, Mariam,
and
it's so
accept
sad to
that
see
suggestion.
parents are making most of the decision for their kids. अब ये करना है, अब ये सोना है, अब यहाँ जाना है, वहाँ करना है. And my son defies all odds. He will not follow any instruction. He will create his own stuff. And
Oh,
I let him now. First, I used to be like, no, why this, that? We would
right.
have arguments. But I was
Mhm.
like, okay, have your way. And when he has his way, he has a certain confidence in himself that, okay, if I did that, if it was right, okay, it was good. If it was wrong, okay, I learned my lesson. So it's
Okay.
very important for them to let them decide for themselves what's good and what's not good for them from a very young age. And when they grow up, otherwise they'll be so indecisive, won't know what to do. Should I do this? Should I do that? I'm not used to
Ah,
making my own decisions. So
exactly.
it's very important for them to know what's right, what's wrong, and they decide it for themselves. And don't blame anyone else later for the consequences.
Superb, superb, amazing. So, second question, what's the
Yes.
weirdest thing in your handbag right now?
Oops. Should I be disclosing that?
You want to go look in your handbag and be like, this is weird.
My handbag is usually full of things. Um, Kevin. Well, it has all sorts of go-to things like, a clutcher, a ponytail bag, a few makeup stuff,
Yeah,
obviously wallet, and weirdest thing would be a nail polish because sometimes I'm always on the run and I'm just always just trying to polish my nails in the car.
yeah,
So that could
100%,
be.
100%. If your love life were a movie title, what would it
Oh
be? We
man.
started with this. You said it's like full Hindi movie.
If my love life was a movie title, it has to be DDLJ because I so relate to the Simran in that movie, the dreamer, the believer in love, the believer in life, So that is totally me. And although I didn't find my Raj in Eurorail, I found him very much like typically arranged
Yes.
setup. But he's very much the Raj that I dreamed of, and it completely describes, the way my life is.
And
So it's
that's
all
so
full of
lovely
dreams.
because arranged marriages can also give you the DDLJ vibe, right? That's so
Yes,
sweet.
it can.
Simran
So,
used to be
so
my
the
favorite
funny,
name while role
sorry.
playing because it was the most stunning name.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that girl, the character played by Kajol was so similar to me that I would write, I would dream, I would fantasize
Oh.
about my love life, how it would be. So, all of that. So I think that best describes me. And so much so that when my husband realized that that movie is really one of my favorites, he actually enacted that part in one of the Euro rails while the reel is about to move and I'm running and I'm like, hey, and then he's just catching me up and just catching. He's like, हो गया पूरा? मैंने कहा हाँ, अब हो गया पूरा. So he's also very filmy with me, by the way.
Oh my God. Okay. Your go-to pretend everything is fine line when chaos is happening behind the scenes. We're just running fashionably late, for example. Like in a public appearance, you guys are all like completely like gonna kill each other. But what is that phrase, sentence?
I think that phrase from Three Idiot all the time comes to my mind. All is well, all is going to be well, all is going to be okay. And actually, miraculously, it actually turned out well. Like,
Yeah.
I was going for one of these events and I was definitely like running late, last minute stuff and this and that. Very chaotic, very panicked. And the moment I reached, I'm like, all is well, I'm doing perfectly well, everything's going to be fine. And the moment it turned up was just absolutely normal, absolutely okay. So I think that all is well is my go-to phrase
Wow, love
from Three
it.
Idiot.
Yeah,
That, it's
and
okay,
it's
it's all
true.
good.
It really is true. I've studied a lot under Louise Hay's teachings, and she says, when things are going wrong, we start to say the worst things, right? So
Exactly.
you just have this mantra that says, all is well, all is well, all is well. And then what happened? Everything was
Yeah.
fine.
So the moment you start to say something negative, it all goes even worse. But the moment you say the contrary, the opposite, it just turns out perfectly fine. So yeah, that's my go-to one-liner.
Super. What emoji describes your mood most days?
The emoji with that laughter sign on, like that tear coming out, and
Oh, yes, yes. I would give you the same. I would give you the same,
yeah.
Paka.
So most of my emojis are going like hee. or it's very famous in my very common in my friend circle that I type a typical he. They're like,
Oh,
oh, it's so cute.
yeah.
He.
Yeah.
So when there were no emojis, I'm like he. Like, okay, there you are. She's laughing.
And that is so you. I love that. Okay,
Thank
be
you.
filled. What's one thing your husband does that drives you nuts, but you've learned to love anyway?
Oh my God. He loves to ask. So he wears turbans, and we are pretty much getting ready around the same time, and we're going somewhere. So every time I'm putting a kajal or a mascara, he's like, "Which turban?" I'm like, "Why do you? How come you always end up finding that same time when I'm like literally cannot look at you to ask you which one will be, this shirt or this shirt, this turban or this turban?" I'm like, "Oh my God!" But we found ways. So before I start my makeup, I'm like, "Which one do you want right
Yeah.
now?" He decided, and like, can I now get busy with that? And then I go on.
Awesome. Awesome.
So yeah,
If your life had a soundtrack, what's the opening song?
opening song. I think "Heal the World, Make It a Better Place" from Michael Jackson.
Oh,
I
you
think
guys, please give her a gold stamp right now. This
it
woman,
literally just came to my mind
I
because
love her.
what I'm seeing these days, there's so much pain, there's so much suffering, and part of the reason of why I am doing what I'm doing is because it just gives me so much peace to be able to help somebody come out of their pain and their miseries. And when I see them smiling, it's like it's I think it's a life of purpose. It's like a day well lived. So that's what's coming to my mind right now. Oh, it'll be a crying emoji.
My emoji tends to be the welled up eye. One food you'll always sneak into your room when no one's watching.
One food. I am a foodie, so yeah. So I love, to be honest, that typical paratha and makhan and a cup of tea because that's my childhood favorite, and my mom makes the most
Where does
amazing
it show?
parathas.
Hello.
Huh?
Do you know how beautifully tall and well, what figure she has? But where does
I love my parathas, and I love them with full on makhan and ghee and everything, and especially when it's made up by my mom or even my mom-in-law. So they make amazing parathas. I would any day just sneak it in, go into my room, and that's my like go-to comfort food. So if
yeah.
I've had bad day and I'm not eaten well or I'm starving, that would just make my day and bring a smile on my face.
Oof, amazing. We'll discuss parathas one just exclusively paratha conversation. I'm sure we'll have in the chat box everyone saying which is your favorite paratha. So you better tell us which one is your favorite paratha.
Just basic, namak ajwain, basic pranthi that people make in Punjabi
Oh.
houses. Just that loaded with butter. Oh my God, and I'm like in a divine space.
And your secret weapon for turning a bad day around in 3 minutes. Is it a prayer? Is it a dance? Is it a chocolate? Or is it watching funny videos? Anything?
I think it would be watching a romantic comedy,
Oh.
or if I'm having a low day, either watching a good movie or probably just putting on Kennedy at the background just calms me down, soothes me, and brings me back to normal. So
Oh,
yeah.
that's lovely, 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 lovely. That was so much fun, and you have been so fabulous, Simran. Thank you so
Thanks a
much
lot.
for sharing your time. This is something that's going to be so valuable for everyone who watches. Please do share it with your loved ones. Share it with anyone who you
Absolutely.
think needs to hear this conversation. It could be a friend, a sister, anyone who's, looking for that comfort.
Yes.
And Simran is your person to go to. And this video, please do like, share, and subscribe to Coffee Mornings with Mariam. And we'll be bringing you more such fabulous, fabulous, fabulous people to live life and love.
Yes,
Laughter,
absolutely.
love, life. I'm like, in any combination you use that, it's gonna work.
And thank you so much for having me, Mariam. It was such a pleasure. Like this thing is like so much fun, talking to you and discussing the things that we have learned along the way, and to be able to share it. So really, really, thank you for having me on this.
You're all the way there. All the best. You're gonna make such a difference in healing the world. So sending
Thank
you
you.
all that love, sending you all that love, sweet.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.